Hey, this Realm of the Mist podcast is brought to you proudly by the Nurses Guild.
Hi, this is Eddie Deason. You're listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall. I was Mandark in Dexter's laboratory. Ha 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 ha.
Hey, what's up, guys? Christopher Stolle back for another Breaking the Fourth Wall. And again, I get excited when I get to sit down and talk to people that are like me, except for successful. As most of you who watch this show know, I've been a musician since I was 13 years old. I've been in multiple bands, maybe on one hand, ever made it out of the garage, but it doesn't matter. I was still in them. It still happened. I remember it. I still had the Fisher-Price guitar. But speaking of Fisher-Price guitars, I have people here who not only are very successful in the music scene, they are, quite honestly, I was a fan of them before I even discovered I was going to be interviewing them. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Joiners. I forgot your guys' first names. I'm sorry. Of the band Lilakk. I did. I'm like, what was your first names?
It's okay, man.
Yeah, it's all right. This
Cali.
is Cali, and I'm Kirk, Captain Kirk.
Kirk and Cali.
Yes.
There you go. Captain. Oh, yeah, Captain. All right. This is as generic of a question as I can ask.
All right.
What got you guys started? What made you say, let's put this band together?
Well, I was just trying to lure her in. This before we were dating. She had moved out to California to pursue her acting, and anyway, we became friends somewhere in the mix. And anyway, called her up, and I told her, I was like, "Hey, Callie, why don't you move back to Georgia, and I'll teach you how to play bass, and we'll start a band. We'll move to Atlanta and play music." And then we didn't move to Atlanta. We've stayed right here.
We did travel to Tampa, though.
Yeah, we did play. Right after we got married, we moved to Tampa, Florida, and we played music full time down there for a year or two.
Was it hard going full time? I mean, again, as a musician myself, I never took that step. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I was afraid of like quitting the 9 to 5 to pursue. You know what I mean? So
Right.
It's definitely scary because it's like one of those things where, I mean, it's unpredictable what your pay is going to be like. And we definitely lived that musician lifestyle. We still do, but definitely in Tampa because, you know, we were there by ourselves. So we were
Super broke,
super broke.
hungry, eating ramen noodles every day.
Yep.
And you know, it was hard. Lost a lot of weight. My grandpa, we had visited over a holiday.
right.
And, you know, he's real old school country. He's like, "Kurt, you're getting pretty skinny, boy. I think you need to move on back up here." So we after
You feed you some bacon.
yeah, you need some bacon here.
Oh, everybody likes bacon.
I know, right?
Bacon is awesome.
I know.
And my granddad, he used to cook this like really, really thick bacon. It was like a 1/4 inch. It was almost like ham,
Right.
but he would cook like more than a pound at a time, and it would be piled up on the plate like this, and we'd have like rice and tomatoes and biscuits and bacon, macaroni,
Yeah,
cheese.
his nana could throw down.
Sounds like how I raise my kids. I got a 10 and a 11, almost 12-year-old now. I got them into Scrapple, and it's a Sunday tradition. And I mean, like, I buy the bricks of Scrapple, and I have to cook every last slab of it for the kids because
Right.
it's a plate pile of Scrapple with some Scrapple. They'll keep eating it as long as I never tell them what it's made out of. But all right, so I assume you guys worked in music in some way, shape, or form before Lilakk. What were some of the bands you were in, like the styles and the influences that you brought to Lilac when you finally put this project together?
Yeah, so my background, probably started playing guitar around 14 or 15. I was in high school. It was more of an outlet type thing. Before then, I was like, on the baseball team and played sports, but really my heart wasn't in it. And during that time, like my mother had stage 4 cancer, and I was going through a lot of changes and all that. So it was an outlet. So I secretly started writing songs and playing. For years I couldn't play standard. I had a friend who played like new metal type stuff.
Drop D.
Yeah, so drop D. That's how I play. I had like 3 or 4 strings on my guitar because I popped the other ones,
Right.
and that's how I learned. He'd come over like every other week and he'd tune it up, and then I just write songs like that. And then eventually I learned how to play like standard chords. But literally probably 95% of our set is drop D today, because that's how I learned. Like everything I transposed to drop D.
Right. Well, it makes sense to me. I mean, with I use my last band a lot as a reference point when I speak to musicians, because it's the freshest band I could think of. But majority of our songs, we call ourselves aggressive rock, but most of ours were in drop D. We didn't dare call ourselves metal because we weren't that hard.
Right. Yeah.
But most things were in drop D. I don't think we had more than 2 songs that were standard.
Yeah.
So you're
kind of like us.
You're the primary lyric writer, songwriter, or?
Yeah, I mean, for most of the stuff right now, Cali's gotten into songwriting, and it's really cool. It's a little different than my writing style.
Okay.
But it's it adds a feminine aspect to it, and it's pretty cool. I like it.
Well, I have noticed on perusing some of your videos that you guys do trade off vocals, not only in harmonics, but I mean taking the front stage, the front man role, as it were. Was it something that was planned when the band was put together, or was it originally Cali's just going to be the bassist in the back and you're going to do your thing?
Well, it just kind of evolved into that, but I think it was always in our mind. It would be like a dual, frontmanship or front womanship. I don't know, whatever the word is, because Cali has something internally that, whatever that special something is, she has that.
Right.
So it lends its way to, being a front woman.
And I think music is a lot to do with connection too, and whatever you go through, different stages of your life, can inspire you as far as your songwriting process goes too. So as far as me dabbling into songwriting, whatever I'm going through in different stages of my life have influenced those writing periods. So it's definitely a little different, but where I think us two, we mesh well together.
Yeah, that's something, a lot of our live shows, a lot of people come up to us and talk about how well we, like, vocally we mesh together.
Mm-hmm.
I was really into Alice in Chains. And I liked how, both Jerry Cantrell and Lane both sang together almost constantly. And, so that's kind of cool with Cali and I. And another thing, it's like when she takes the lead, it's like a different band. And then when I tell you, it's like 2 different bands in one. Kind of like Fleetwood Mac. I mean, there's 3 singers.
Right.
The music itself sounds, universally the same, but the vocal talents are different and give different taste to it. And that's cool.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, I'm definitely, I don't want, for our listeners, I don't want anybody to think that I'm disparaging female vocalists. As a matter of fact, it's the exact opposite. I am absolutely all for female rock vocalists taking the forefront, because, you know, you think back to the 80s, for an example, you had like Lita Ford, Liz Phair,
Oh, yeah.
Kitty, you know, Jack Off Jill. These were phenomenal female led bands, and then it kind of just dropped off from the planet. Now you have something like Hailstorm, who's really, really good, but it's still few and far in between. For you
Right.
guys, the closest I came up with a male female duet that I could think of that's kind of current, not as current as they used to be, but I mean, you know, the first thing that came to mind was Lacuna Coil. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're familiar with them. You know,
Yeah, somewhat.
you know,
I
very
remember
male female duet style band, both front. They kind of put her more forefront because well, she speaks English better.
right.
But I mean, that was my first thought when you know, delving deeper into your guys' catalog that I could find on YouTube was
Right.
it was very much a male female led band, as opposed to like, okay, I'll do one or two songs and then you do one song, and you know, back and forth like that. And I'm all for that, because I, especially in today's modern music society, where everything's all pre-recorded, MIDI dubstep, crappy
Right.
lyrics, and you know, very, very generic, very, very from the machine. I love the fact that
Right.
people are still putting the time, effort, and heart into music itself. So absolutely, I congratulate
Right.
you on that aspect.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That means a
And, you know,
lot.
modern music, you know, there's some stuff that I like, but what I hate is the human element being taken out of music. You know, it's like rock and roll. Rock and roll is kind of underground right now. You know, what a hit album for rock and roll is nothing compared to, you know, like a hit album for pop or R&B or, you know, whatever music's the biggest. You know, but we give back that attitude. You know, the attitude of rock is what's gone. You know, I listened to bands like Stained and Disturbed and stuff like that, you know, when I was a teenager. But it's like something was lost in that music. It's like whenever you go back to the 80s, there's an attitude.
Right.
The attitude was lost. So we try to put the attitude or the spirit of rock back in.
I remember in high school, like having, you know, like Story of the Year and Yellow Card and all those like emo bands. Like I remember like having that punk attitude, and I miss that. Like I feel like that's what the youth needs right now, like just that punk rock attitude.
Well,
that's what we're trying to.
That's it.
Back.
It's like all the big bands that we've opened up for. It's like, you know, they're not. Pandering is probably not the good word or
Right.
the best word, but it's like there's no connection with the youth. When we open up for these bands, you look at the age range, and I'm not talking about our age, but you know, people will be our age or older,
Right.
there. And you know, it's you have to connect with the youth. I notice with marketing, especially on Facebook, they won't allow you to market your music to anyone under, you know, 18 years old. And I know when I got into music, it was, you know, I was an early teenager. So
Like
it's
13.
like, yeah.
Yeah, so the people like, you know, that are older, they remember all, you know, all those bands and stuff, and they all miss that. But definitely like trying to get the youth to recognize and familiarize with all that.
I did a series on here for a little while with my 10-year-old son, trying to introduce him to things, rock and metal, like music videos, you know, reaction type videos. He really didn't take to it. It was really disappointing. But I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about because again, I know I'm a little older than you guys. You know, when I discovered music, like I had a friend slip me the Master of Puppets uh, cassette and Ozzy Osbourne's Ultimate Sin album. Those were my introductions into rock and metal. And the attitude, you're absolutely right. I remember walking around high school in the Doc Marten boots and the ripped jeans and the flannel tied around the waist and always a band shirt, you know, and that it was almost like battle armor. You were ready for shit. Yeah.
You're like, don't mess with me, man.
Chains on the wallet and everything.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Hey, I've been
studded
there.
belt,
I've been
Converse.
there. And you know, now it seems like that rap has taken the edge from rock. So it's not rap is like the edgy music.
Right.
And then rock has almost become a parody, so to speak. But it's just because youthful bands, and they're not in the forefront. There's a band called Starcrawler out of LA,
Okay.
and I'm a huge fan of them. They're punk, heavy, just noise rock.
You're a fan of Dave Grohl. And
Yeah,
and
Dave Grohl loves him. So I'm like, all right, well, I like this band.
If Dave Grohl likes them, we like them too.
But the attitude's there. They're actually fairly popular in Europe, and I noticed, like, when we look at analytics for who plays our songs, on Spotify and YouTube and stuff like that, the majority of people are overseas. So it's like, Spain, Germany, the UK, even China and, Asia. I mean, that's cool. And I hear stories from other bands that we speak to that, go tour in Europe. Rock is huge over there.
Right.
So
yeah, when I lived in Australia, rock was huge. I mean, we used to go to all the festivals and stuff, and it was just so different. Like, I wish that would come back here so bad.
Well, I mean, I get that, because I mean, you could look at it from like a standpoint. I remember there was a little thing about Justin Bieber. I know I just threw up in my mouth a little bit even mentioning the name, but I remember him having this deal of like how great a crowds he draws, and then that same year Metallica came into town and just blew his numbers away. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The mainstay bands that are still around, like Ozzy, Metallica, a couple of the others, they're still rocking it out. But you're right, and I'm curious on your guys' point of view, because for myself, I definitely blame the transfer to digital as well as other influences for the fall of rock and metal.
Right.
I think
Definitely.
part of the fun of being a rocker was getting that album, whether it was on CD or cassette or whatever, with that artwork, and you bought it for the one song you heard on the radio or on MTV, but then you checked out the other 11 tracks, you're reading the lyrics, you're looking at the artwork, you're pissing your parents off because they see it too.
Dude, what's so funny about that, man? All right, so I grew up in a pretty strict Christian household. Creed, I was allowed to listen to Creed. Mom bought me the Human Clay album for like my birthday or whatever. Well, my dad, he did not want me to listen to rock and roll at all. Like he was old school, like Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard, and,
Nothing wrong with that music.
golden old, and I love that music too. But I remember him banging on my door, listening to Creed, man. Creed. Turn that devil music off. Turn it off. Turn it off. It's like Creed, Well, during that time, most people thought that Creed was a Christian band.
Right.
Which they, Scott Stapp, he said, well, I'm a Christian, but it's not a Christian band. But the lyrics would make you think that it was Christian. So, you know,
It
we're
was a
like,
little too positive for rock.
yeah, exactly.
But I know what you mean when you say that about the virtual, or I mean, you know, technology, you know, being more advanced, you know, that really has destroyed the face-to-face interaction, because that is a huge thing, especially for us. Like, you know, we try to do these live streams and stuff, and you know, the sound quality and everything is never going to sound good or never going to be the same. But when we're like on stage in front of the crowd, I mean, that's when we're in our element. That's when we're really jamming out, and the crowd feels that. And I think that's part of that punk rock attitude.
I absolutely agree, because I come from the generation, musically, I come from the generation where, you know, you go to see a concert, for example, you go to see Motley Crue, and you're standing out front of, you know, insert venue name here, to go see the band. You're standing there, and all the local acts are handing out demo tapes left, right, and 6 ways from Sunday. You walk out of a Motley Crue concert with about 17 flyers and at least 6 different demos, and you don't get that in today's society. You go to a concert. I went to Ozzy's No More Tours 2, you know, here in New Jersey, and nobody approached me with anything, and that felt wrong in a concert.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, in Sylvania, where we're from, we live in a county of like 11,000 people.
Okay.
All counties. So we don't even have a Walmart here. Yeah. Right. There was a guy who was giving out demo tapes at the McDonald's.
Nice.
Like just in the bags. I actually have it somewhere. He's a rapper or whatever. I checked it out. It was actually cool. But, you know, I still try to drop people CDs and stuff like that. I don't know what happens afterwards. Not saying they're not thrown away, but, you know, I try to do that, like give people stuff, because you never know where a fan's going to be. But it's like you were saying, most people play music right here.
Yeah.
On a cell phone.
But also, you know, going back to that, I think also with this whole pandemic, it's made people realize that they want that social interaction. I think people are craving it, and I think people want to go to concerts and live events, and they miss all that. So I really believe that stuff is going to really attract people.
Well, to back up what she's saying, we booked a gig for a certain amount of money, and we got paid like a fourth more than we asked for.
Oh,
wow. We're used to having to haggle for more money to get
Poor
like a regular price. Yeah. So and the thing is like people are begging for bands to come play right now. I mean, we're not having to book things. People are trying to book us.
That's awesome.
That's an awesome feeling.
And, you know, you can say it's kind of dangerous and rock and roll living on the edge with the coronavirus and nobody's wearing masks and, you know, that stuff.
Living on the edge.
But hey, rock and roll.
Well, how's the live performances been? I mean, are you guys all separated by plexiglass on stage? And yeah.
No, it's like before, man. But I guess everybody's drinking alcohol. It just kills anything that comes out there.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Most of people going to your show used to drink out of garden hoses and all that anyway. They're already vaccinated.
Yeah. Well, my bass player actually has coronavirus, but he didn't catch it from a show. He caught it from his work. He was together. I think they were actually all wearing masks. But everybody there got it. Which he's not bad off. He lost the smell and taste.
Right.
And that's the only symptom he's had, but he's been that way for 2 weeks. He's been eating like jalapenos and full cloves of garlic just to see if he could taste, and like nothing.
Hand him a Carolina Reaper, see how he does.
Right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. But I mean, around here, I guess maybe because we're like in the you know, the boondocks, it's like we haven't had that many cases in our county.
Right.
And, you know, there's been a few deaths. The whole nursing home, like 70 people had coronavirus, and I think 3 or 4 passed from it, which is sad, you know.
We try not to travel unless, you know, we have to, you know, for shows and stuff, but we pretty much just stay isolated as much as we can.
And we've been playing some outdoor stuff, so that, you know, that's a little bit safer. But yeah, we played the cross-eyed cricket, and we brought masks, and we went in there. It's like nobody was wearing a mask, and then we're like, you know what, just screw it, man. Threw it down, and we got up there. I said, we all have corona, and then
I didn't do all that, but
that was something I was thinking about too. So, you know, because again, I'm not in a band now. I did work on a solo album that I'll never go out and promote and tour, you know, because it's just it was an experiment. But you know, the thought had crossed my mind with the coronavirus, and especially with bands and stuff like that, going out and performing and all, how crazy it's got to be to try to adhere to the guidelines, yet still put on what a band would do as far as performance is concerned, you know. And one of the things that I always thought about is like, how the hell do you sing through a mask?
Exactly.
Right.
And
I've seen people do it,
and it's one of those things. Is like, you know, we look at this as our job, you know, and you just can't quit your job. So, you know, just trying to work around it. But we try to stay as careful as we can. But yeah, there's no way we can sing through.
What are some of the influences for you guys in the music that you write? Like, what are some of the bands that you listen to catch inspiration to write the next album?
Kind of going back to what I was saying before, like different periods of my life, it kind of goes like that with different influencers. You know, when I was a teenager, my influencers were more of Linkin Park, The Offspring. That's where I get kind of my roots of that rock style. But then as I got older, you know, I've been adventuring out into Halsey and a little bit of more pop elements. So as far as my inspiration is whatever, that's just whatever emotion, whatever I'm going through. If sometimes, you know, people ask us all the time, you know, how does it feel like being in a band with your spouse? And I said, you know, it's not easy all the time, but it makes for good content. So, you know, I mean, we work really well with each other, but you know, we feed off each other.
Yeah, we work like this. Holding his. Yeah, well, for me, it's like when I was a teenager, you know, it was the new metal stuff that was big.
The following is an important message from the Nurses Guild of Florida. We know COVID has many scared. Many of our seniors are even afraid to go to the doctors. Just the thought of being exposed to all the people in the waiting room, in addition to the doctor's staff, is a risk many don't want to take right now. However, putting off health care makes most conditions worse. The Nurses Guild has the solution. One that exposes you to just one person. Call your doctor's office and have them order a nursing assessment from the Nurses Guild. We are a 5-star Medicare home health agency. Your registered nurse in full PPE will perform a full head-to-toe assessment, vital signs and medication review, pulse oximetry, even an EKG if needed. Lab work and x-rays can also be done at home. Our registered nurse will discuss all of this strictly and directly with your doctor and get you results. All of our nurses and home health aides are fully screened, supervised, and COVID tested. Call the Nurses Guild today to arrange your home health visit at 954-596-9806 in Broward County and 561-826-8937 in Palm Beach County. Remember, healthcare put off is healthcare too late. Stay safe during the pandemic. Wear a mask and insist those around you wear a mask. Wash your hands frequently and stay home as much as possible.
You know, listen to Offspring, to Disturbed, Mudvayne, Korn, stuff like that.
Okay.
Then once I was like in my 20s, then I got into like Nirvana and Alice in Chains. I already had like the Alice in Chains album when I was like 17 or 18, and it played nonstop. And then, but Nirvana, I always hated Nirvana. There was something about Nirvana. I was like, man, this punk Kurt Cobain, you know. But then once I got older and I actually took the time to listen to the albums, I got it. You know, there was a universal something. There's a ghost behind you.
that was my significant other.
Oh, I got you. But yeah, so Nirvana, what I liked about that music is like the sarcasm and the punk aspect of Nirvana.
Right.
You know, or the deep track type songs on their albums. That was a big influence on Lilakk, because I like that spirit, you know, because there was that rock spirit like intertwined in with the grunginess. And then now, like I like a lot of indie pop type stuff, pop rock, Silver Sun Pickups, MGMT, Surfaces, bands like that. So there is a pop aspect going into this EP that we're working on. Still has the grunginess and the dirtiness, but like we're adding in like 80s style synth in the background, like some hooks. So, you know, it makes it a little fresh, and it has all of our influences in there.
And
hey, you're not turning me off. I argue the point that hair metal was probably one of the greatest forms of heavy metal through the decadence, and I think that's one of the things that's missing in rock was the, for lack of a better term, the pop rock element that 80s glam pulled.
yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
If you want to bust out a sitar, I'm all for it.
Right. Yeah, actually, we were thinking about a guitar, sitar, all that
I was
stuff,
thinking about
man.
playing a guitar, but
Yeah.
I was also going to say, like, you know, going back to my influencers as far as like singing, you know, I love storytellers, and I love Dolly Parton and Stevie Nicks, which I know Stevie Nicks before that TikTok video.
Yeah, have you seen that? Like,
No, I haven't.
Fleet.
It's like all these people didn't know who like Fleetwood Mac was and Stevie Nicks. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac is like #1 on the charts for like
At least
downloads
it
right now
went back up
because of a TikTok video that someone did.
I mean, it's cool that it brought them back to that, but it kind of goes along the same lines as that song Ozzy did with Post Malone, and everybody acted like Post Malone discovered Ozzy Osbourne. It's like, are you kidding?
Right.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
crazy.
this is really sad.
What do you speaking of storytellers? What do you guys draw influence for the lyrics, the subject matters of your songs? The reason I ask it as an example, as a songwriter myself, I always called myself a storyteller more than a singer, and I would draw inspiration from life around me, but then I would kind of what I called Stephen King'd it into like this fictitious horror story.
Metaphors.
Yeah, metaphors and everything else, and completely vilify whatever the subject matter was supposed to be about, you know, be it drug addiction, whatever. So I'm just curious, is it more personal, or do you guys write stories, or, you know, is it just newspaper print, like kind of half of Metallica's catalog?
Right. Well, for me, it's, you know, it's personal, but I don't like to make it super obvious. So I will use metaphors, and I'll use sarcasm. I don't write from like a story from A to B.
Okay.
It'll be sporadic. So it might be, you know, C, A, B, fruit, meat, like just but it's like it paints a picture. So it's like you're working on different things. I'm ADD really, really bad.
Okay.
And I have to really try to concentrate. So my music is like that. It's like if you ever see me sweep a floor, I never sweep it from there to there. I will get distracted and I'll be over here on this side of the room, and then I'll be over there, and then I'll forget about
When do
it.
you sweep? You're talking about me.
I said sweep. When I sweep, that's the reason why I don't sweep.
Don't ever go on one of the job sites to any of the bosses I ever worked with. They'd probably flip out. What are you doing?
Right. But I mean, I literally have to like sit there and concentrate. All right, Kurt, sweep this here, then here, then here. It's like anything I do, like I have to write a list, and I'm like, just concentrate. Just concentrate.
That's probably one of the worst experiences in the world, to be ADD and OCD at the same time.
Yeah.
It has to be perfect, but squirrel.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And what's so cool about it is like when I play music, everything goes, it's like laser focused. And then the H in the ADHD that I lost once I hit a certain age, it like comes back and I'm able to use it on stage. So I'm able to jump around and
Hit me with his guitar.
Yeah, hit her with a guitar. Dude, there was a gnarly kick that was meant for my butt that hit me in my manhood, like over the weekend.
Oh no!
On stage,
that wasn't
in the middle of a song,
that was
man.
An accident.
It was an accident. She didn't mean to, but oh my god! And somebody got it on tape too.
Oh, nice.
Hey, we finished the set, and I was still jumping around, but dude, I collapsed.
You got to put that on YouTube. That'll go viral.
Good Lord. I'm actually still sore. That happened on Saturday.
Oh, that's no good. Well, you did say you kind of slipped that you guys are working on an EP now. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the upcoming EP and when you hope to have it released?
Well, we're shooting for November 20th.
Oh, so that close to done.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty close. We're just in the vocal stage of it. So everything's tracked, and I kind of mix as we go along. So we're just trying to get the vocals, and then we'll give it a little bit better mix and then master it. We have a studio in a bus, so that's where we record everything, and it's cool because now we don't have to pay to go to a studio and sit there and be rushed. Now we can kind of be more creative on the music.
Yeah, and kind of my writing process is more personal, and I kind of look at it as more like a diary. Whatever. They're kind of like, my songs are kind of like my pages in my diary, and so that's kind of how I look at it. So a lot of my songs are real personal to me.
Well, that brings me to a question I was going to ask. The ADD thing, I bounce around in questions if you can't tell. One of my favorite songs that I've listened from you guys is Rain. You got to tell me the story of Rain.
Yeah, so...
Well, actually, Kurt wrote Rain.
Yeah, so early, that actually goes back to our time in Tampa.
Okay.
When we moved down there, it was just, it took 6 months to book a decent gig to just break into the music scene. We had saved up money to move down there, and we were running out of money. Couldn't hardly pay bills. Had to get part-time jobs during the day, and just starving. We had just gotten married, so that was hard, learning to adjust to living together.
Right.
It seemed like every day it rained, man, when we're down there. And like Tampa's known for that. I mean, it's the Sunshine State. Yeah, it's a lot, but it freaking rains a lot every day. And I just remember being in the small little apartment we're living in and just down, and, you know, it was always raining. And, you know, just thinking about how can we save this? How can we save our relationship? How can we save, you know, our career or whatever?
And it's funny because Kurt wrote this song and he wrote, you know, the lyrics, but the emotion that I put towards the song, it was like I was thinking of something totally different. So that's funny how music works like that. You know, you can connect with it, whatever, you know, you're going through, you know, you can connect with music and relate to it and feel it.
And then, yeah, and that's what's so cool about music. It can mean one thing to one person, but mean something else to someone else. And that's kind of the reason most songs I won't talk about what they're about.
Right.
But that song, you know, it's something that, you know, I like to share. And but whatever it means to whoever, I mean, that's cool, you know. let it be what you want it to be, you know.
What's one of your favorites? Both question to both of you. What's one of your favorite songs that you've done thus far, even from the new album? Just out of your catalog, which one is your personal, like, this is my song, you know, type deal?
Right. Well, there's two. There's a song called "Hey" that we just started performing live. It's not going to be on this EP. It's on the second EP. Just because it doesn't fit the other songs. It's super heavy, got a lot of toms in it going on. And that's always a favorite at shows. Then there's Prep Rally, which we, you know, a lot of people sing to that one at shows.
Okay.
And we really get down to that song. So that's my two.
Mine is My Shoes, which is going to be on this EP. That's one of the songs that I wrote.
Okay.
I'm excited about that because that'll be my first full song, and I, you know, like I said, it means a lot, and then also, actually, one of the ones that Kirk said, "Hey," is another one of my favorites because that's a really, really cool song. It's just like super heavy, and it's just like the crowd just really gets into it, and it's a really fun song to play.
Excellent. Now, for people who don't know, where can they find you guys' music? Like, if they want to buy the EP, or if they just want to download a track, or whatever else. You guys have a website, or obviously you mentioned Spotify beforehand, you know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, all those sites: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes.
www.lilakk.com is our website. We have Reverb Nation, and then we post a lot on Facebook and Instagram. So we're going to be posting on all those sites, doing a lot of advertising, especially leading up to the EP.
And you can download the songs from the website, directly from the website. It's not connected with iTunes or anything like that. It's just direct to us.
Well, I will
all the money.
I will ask one particular question. I will ask one particular question, which doesn't necessarily have to do with Realm Within or breaking the fourth wall. I also do internet DJing for a internet radio station out of Orlando, Florida, called blindcafe.net or blindcaferadio.net. I was the radio part. I do a show that I call Raise the Underground every Monday. And one of the things about it is, of course, I play all the hard rock and heavy metal. My catchphrase is taking the rock and metal and shoving it up your no-no hole. But the main objective behind it is to get underground bands, as opposed to the main stream radio bands that you've heard, to donate a demo or a track to give them airtime, publicity, put them in regular rotation. Would Lilakk like to be in regular rotation?
Yeah, definitely.
Send me a track.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Like I said, I play every Monday, so it'll get played every Monday.
Okay,
I got you. Well, in fact, we'll do this. We'll send you our 3 singles, and then whatever you want to play,
Well, good. That'll let it. 1 week will be one single. 1 week will be the other single. I guess
There
it's
you
more to play with.
go.
There we go.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Awesome, guys. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you guys. I definitely got to have you back on, especially when you release the album. What's the EP's title? What's it going to be called?
Problems.
Problems?
Yeah.
Oh, please tell me the second EP is going to be called Solutions.
Yes. How did you know? How
This
did you
is
know?
2020. We don't need any more
Yeah.
negativity.
2020 is the problems, and then next year everything's going to be
The
solved.
solution.
Yeah.
Problems and Solutions. It's a double
Yes.
album, guys. Guys, definitely check out Lilakk. Let them know where they can find you guys. Besides the Lilakk.com and all that. Like if they want to get in contact with you, if they want to get like tour information or whatever. If they just want to ask a question I didn't ask on the show today.
Yeah, just check us out on social media. We're on all the social sites. Facebook, it's Lilakk Band. There's Twitter, which is at Lilakk Band.
And then our Instagram is
Band.
Lilakk_band.
Yes. So Lilakk Band on
Then
everything.
they're not gonna. But
Yeah.
we'll put the links on the description
Somewhere.
box.
Yeah, we'll make sure that's down there.
Yes.
And the YouTube, we're on the YouTube too.
the good old YouTube.
You just kind of made yourself sound so old. We're on the YouTube.
I know.
We're
like,
on the
why-
YouTube
why did
and the Twitter and the Facebook.
you say that?
On that face talk thing on
We're on that Face Talk. Yeah.
the internet. No,
Space.
Beneath my
Oh,
face,
yeah.
you
Actually,
know.
we do have a MySpace.
oh my God, we talked about that. Yeah,
There is a MySpace.
nice.
It's somewhere in the interwebs. If you Google, you'll find it somewhere.
Google probably be like, "What is this? 1993?" No, I've always said MySpace was better than Facebook.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, man. Well, you could have your own music playing. You could have whatever background you wanted, whatever theme. It's like, there's no comparison. But, whatever. Maybe actually what everybody should do, and I was talking to a few other bands, we were talking about going back to MySpace and reviving it. So we can do it. We can do it if everybody starts getting back on it.
Let me know. I'll see if I can remember the password to this solution.
Yeah, I have to go back in the.
I think
the
your old
mind's vault.
pastors, didn't you say it was I love cheese?
Yeah, it was something weird. I was adorable. I do love cheese.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. And guys, of course, if you enjoyed this episode, any capacity, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other great podcasts of Realm of Mist Entertainment. And if you prefer your podcasts in audio-only format, you can find Realm of Mist Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. And, of course, you can find us on all the social medias. Just look up Realm of the Mist Entertainment. We're on the interwebs. Guys, thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute honor and blast. Good luck with the EP. And I will catch you guys.
Thank you.
I will catch you guys on the next Breaking the Fourth Wall. Have a good night.
Sounds good.
Bye.